Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to take a look at Federico's collection, or Fed, as most people call Federico. He's well known. He has his own watch show, a very interesting one. He has his own watch business as well as the Delray watches. He's has a lot of experiences around watches and watch collections, and so it's really a pleasure to take a look at his collection. Now, the first one in his collection is one of my favorite. It's the Moser C endeavour. This one is center seconds with big date. It's a gorgeous watch. It's Moser watches are going through some changes, and this is one of the models. Not unlike mine, except mine doesn't have a nice big date at the bottom. It's a gorgeous watch. I really love it. It flip it over on the back, and it has the 343 caliber HMC 343 movement. It's got a 7-day reserve. Very nice. One of the things that Fed has done is that he has put on some bespoke bands. I like doing that. Some collectors do, some don't. Some refuse to use bands other than that by the watchmaker. But believe me, there's a lot more variety out there, and I like the way that Fed has used him in his watch. This next watch is another Moser C. Probably my favorite watch in the entire collection. I really like this watch. It's Moser Adventure Arctic Concept, and it's just gorgeous. Fed put a band on there. I think that really enhances it with the same color, that Arctic blue that's in the Moser. He has it in again, using a bespoke band, has exactly the band that he wants for it. Beautiful watch. It's, again, one of those very strong Moser movements. You might see with the watch flipped over on its back at 3 o'clock, which is in fact 9 o'clock, you can see the little power reserve indicator on that. Both watches are on 18 karat gold, and they're both, in my opinion, real gold mines. This next one is the Ming Blue Dial 17.06. I'm pretty sure this was the model that won the Grand Prix award for, I think it was innovation or something like that. Beautiful watch. Ming is a watchmaker from Malaysia, and he's not the same Ming who is the Ming who is part of the independent watchmakers group that FP Jorn and those guys run, but rather sort of an up and coming watchmaker, and his designs out of Asia. The next ones are much more familiar, and I like them both. I've always liked the Hulk because I'm a big fan of green, and just a great big old green Submariner. And probably I would say of all the Submariners, that is my absolute favorite. Now, next to it is another watch. It's the Laredo Evo 3 by Girard-Perregaux. And this is one of those watches that's, and Fed described it the same way, as a real hidden gem. I've seen a lot of Girard-Perregaux, but this is, I think, is well described by Fed as a luxury sports watch. And indeed it is. It's very unique looking with the date window right around just below the 12 o'clock index, and then around 4 and 5 o'clock is a power reserve indicator with turning red when your watch is about to unwind, and then over at between 7 and 8 o'clock, the little subdial there with a moon phase and the second hand. really interesting watch. It's described as a sports watch, and I can see why. But this could get away with, I think, a lot of really a wide range. It's a very cool watch. Now, this next one is two watches that I think are pretty interesting. There's a Breitling Chronomat Evolution. And Fed describes this as he doesn't wear much, but he says it looks like a pilot's watch. And it does. When I used to fly Breitling and Tag Heuer, they always had their watches in the little flight shop, and that was really something. And this one is a chronograph, and it's an interesting one. Okay, now this next one to the right is one of those watches that's in a collection that I felt that I learned something I didn't know before. This is called the Formex Essence Ligera, and it's a chronometer. Now, if a watch is a Swiss watch with the word chronometer on it, it means it's meant this the CCOC chronometer standards. So it's considered a very accurate watch. Now, Fed had pictured the back of it, and I wasn't quite sure why. But then I started looking at it, and I think I did find out why. It's an interesting movement by something called Swiss Technology Production, or STP. And this particular movement is the STP 1-11, and it replaces the ETA 2824-2, and it's part of fossil watches. The most interesting thing to me was the fact that it has the chronometer standards in it, because it looks like sort of just sort of a watch you'd pick up at a fair or something. But it's a little more than that, and I like it. It's carbon based, a lot of the material on it, so it's a good field watch or sort of banging around watch, and it has a fast release strap on it, which is a nice little feature to have. So that one I always find something more interesting when I don't know anything about it. Now here are two watches. This is the Panerai Luminor Marina, or the PAM 111. This Fed said this is one of his first loves because he's Italian. There's a Swiss part of Italian, so I think he's really not Italian. He's Swiss Italian. He doesn't know it yet, though. And he likes Panerai. Panerai. The thing about Panerai, I've gone through a love-hate with them. I've always really liked the design, beautiful design. I like Italian designs in general. And this particular one I like a lot. They used to have mystery meat movements, but they changed all of that, and now they're all in-house. So it's really a neat, I don't know, it's really coming around. I like this one too. Now the final one is the Seiko SKX. This is, a lot of people have these. Fed described it as his beater watch. And the thing about this that I like the most is the bracelet. I like the looks of that. I don't, again, unless you wear it, you're never quite sure. Like the crown down at 4 o'clock, gives it a little more protection than than having it at 3 o'clock. And this is the diver, and it looks like one of those ones you could actually take diving with you. And now this, I'm pretty sure this is not all of Fed's collection, but these are the ones that he wanted to show as part of his collection. And it's an interesting selection because there's such variety to it. And I'm so happy to see that. When you see all of one kind, it's not as fun, at least for a reviewer like myself. Some people like that, though. And that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, any kind of collection. But this is one I really like, and it's looks like the watches that Fed really enjoys having. So anyway, what would I recommend for a collection like this? You know what? I would recommend, and this may surprise me and Fed and everybody else, but an FP Journe Elegante 48. That's an interesting watch. It is a quartz watch, but it has a little rotor in there that works like the rotor on an automatic, except what it does is that it turns the battery on and off. I don't know why. I just thought, Fed would look good in something like that. I have no idea whether he'd want it or not, and far be it from me to tell Fed what he needs in his collection, but I just thought that would look cool. That's it. What ideas do you have? I'd really like to hear them. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the Art and Science of Watch Collection. And this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like.